Well, I've been looking through piles and piles of articles over the past 24 hours, and I've noticed a significant shift in the headlines regarding Tesla and Elon Musk. Maybe now that Tesla is not blowing everybody else out of the water, and maybe since Elon has been quite as political recently, there's hardly any negative articles at all. The number one subject right now is robotaxi. A lot of people talking about robotaxi. Number two is Elon's pay package. That's still getting tons of coverage. Then you have a sprinkling of articles about the numbers that are coming up a week from Tuesday, but not too many. Well, not even, well, okay, there was one article that was slamming Elon. Of course, that was in the Washington Post, but what can you say? All right. Well, 446,529. 446, yeah, 446,000. Brian White's number. That's his number for next Tuesday. Now, when he comes on the show on Tuesday, I'm going to ask him for a lot more color on that number, but that is really, really in line with the street, where the street is saying 444 even. It's much higher than what AJ just estimated. And if you didn't watch the video that Larry and I did last night, where we went through AJ's entire deal, his entire estimates of the earnings for the second quarter, you should probably look at that. Anyway, but AJ came in at 421. And then yesterday, Barclays came out even lower at 415,000. So now we have a range, 415 to 446.5. I no longer play the game because I don't have anywhere close to the resources that these other people do for coming up with these projections. I'll let them do it. And right now, AJ seems to be the guy who's getting closest, although Brian White has been pretty dang close lots and lots of times. I remember Brian actually won the entire deal one time. He was totally right on. I think on production he won, and I was number two. But I could probably still do the production projections, and I think I still play in that game. But I think I'll bow out. All right. Larry and I did a story on AJ's expectations, as I just mentioned, for quarter two earnings, and AJ left off a key number. He didn't put down the actual earnings per share estimate. Well, I did some math this morning, and I think there might not have been 100% adequate information for me to be certain of what his number would be, but I think he's coming in at 60 cents pre-tax, which is right in line with tip ranks. It's 50 cents after an 18 estimated tax burden. I've asked AJ, what is it? Please give me the number. Please give me the number, but he hasn't done it. And then Larry also said he hadn't really gotten into it yet, but he thought he was 60 cents was around where I think he was coming in too. Okay, speaking of the Delaware case and the class action suit against Elon Musk and Tesla, the plaintiff has filed their response earlier today. They're arguing that there was a final judgment, and that would mean that the Tesla request to set aside or reverse that decision would not be possible without more stuff. I don't 100% understand. You might have to file a motion, a really special motion, or file something, do some paperwork or something to get it set aside. I'm not sure. Very nitpicking kind of procedural stuff. I'm going to let everybody work that out themselves. But I think what it really means is, if the judge wants to reverse, she could. She might have to help the attorneys understand what they need to do to get it done. But if she wants to, it'll happen. Well, okay. In the meantime, see, yeah. Oh, as I noted earlier this week, and everybody now agrees with me, the Delaware corporate attorneys are putting immense pressure on this judge. And even the legislature appears to be getting in the game. There was a 90-minute video, I watched part of it, where we're debating a new bill that was before the Delaware legislature that was related. It wasn't exactly on point, but it was related. But it was related to the idea that should the shareholders be able to do what they want, There's some case law that suggests that, and some thinking that maybe sometimes you might have a majority minority problem where the majority is taking advantage of the minority. There might be shareholder rules that are set that might create a situation where the board would be handcuffed inappropriately in ways that would be counterproductive to other kinds of corporate needs. Anyway, a lot of stuff going back and forth on all this. If this is in the weeds, I think we've got into the weeds enough here. Anyway, the judge, I just believe she can reverse if she wants to. I think she should. I think she might. But the plaintiff, of course, in their response, they certainly don't want this case reopened because they have 5 billion good reasons not to have it reopened. So, well, the 5 billion, though, it appears that the legal team, I guess it's Tornetta is the plaintiff, his legal team noted they could adjust their proposed fee to a mere $73,948 per hour. A mere, which would amount to a cash award of about 1.44 billion rather than 5 or so billion. So they're just being kind. They just were like, okay, we realize this is just too much, and so we'll lower it to a number that seems way more reasonable. If you think that sounds reasonable, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so this is Rated Kirk, by the way. Hit like and subscribe, hit notify. This is the last show for today in the morning. I might have a show with Brian Wong. We've already shot it and it's all ready to go, but we're waiting on a couple of things. Anyway, could be tomorrow morning, could be tomorrow afternoon. Maybe it won't be till Monday. We'll see what happens. But anyway, if not, I've got a special show. I'll tell you about it in a second. At the end of this show, I'll tell you a little teaser about the show I'm going to have for you tomorrow. And then, of course, we have the regular Sunday night show called Monday Morning, one of the most popular shows of every week. And then if you'd like to join Patreon, that would be so cool. And if you really want to do something nice on a Saturday afternoon, you could buy a Cybertruck bottle opener for you or for a friend, for a birthday, for some event that's coming up, for business associates. And now, you can customize them. And it doesn't cost hardly, in fact, if you buy more than 12, it doesn't cost you any more at all. You can customize it any way you want. As many colors as you want, 4-color process, doesn't matter. You can do it. All right. There seems to be a huge amount of fuss going on today about the heat dome and the temperatures around the U.S. And I'm trying to get on board with the anxiety and the tension about these, difficult heat, super hot days. But when I was growing up, I can remember we had something we called 100-100. Yeah, it was 100 degrees and 100% humidity. We had those in St. Louis growing up. My grandfather actually was at a St. Louis Cardinal baseball game and got overtaken with heat prostration, had to be taken to the hospital because it was over 100. And, this is kind of normal. And I grew up pre-AC. We didn't get air conditioning until 57 or 58 in our home, a little, air conditioner that went in the window, I think it was. Yeah, in the window. We used to, I can remember praying for a breeze. Can you remember praying for a breeze? Some of you old guys or people that might have lived in a place where there was no air conditioning, you might remember all this. Well, my parents, they talked about the fact that when they were growing up in the 20s, on these 100 nights in St. Louis, sometimes people would go over to Forest Park, this huge park, kind of the central park of St. Louis. People would just go over to the park and sleep on the lawn of the park all night because it was cooler there than it was at their homes. So I'm sorry. This is kind of a normal summer day in Riverside, 103 right now. And, I'm older than dirt. And I still did my Costco run, loading those groceries into my Model Y at 98 degrees. Would I sound like too much of an old fogey if I wonder why these young whippersnappers are so tender? In the meantime, those nice folks in Lebanon, so loved by our university students, Hezbollah, they're posting pictures of strategic locations in Israel and suggesting that they're taking things up a notch or 7 or 27. I don't know. But they say if they attack, there will be no rules. Wait, they are announcing in advance that they will be doing war crimes. Where's the UN? I'm sorry, I'm in a little bit of a mood. The U.S. says they will engage up to, but not including boots on the ground, if Hezbollah and Israel get into a war. There are more wars now under the watchful eye of President Biden than I can remember in many, 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 many years. His outgoing top general says there hasn't been a greater threat to the U.S. in 50 years due to having multiple threats around the world simultaneously, the Houthis and the Ukraine and China, Taiwan, and Iran and all, Korea, North Korea, Russia. Yeah, it's not good. Anyway, we'll see what happens to oil prices Monday. Well, actually tomorrow night in the pre-market. We'll see whether the oil market is suggesting that there will or that there won't be a war over in Israel. Well, earlier today, I put up 2 videos that you should see if you haven't already checked them out. I did one video with Cern about the economy, with all of his charts and stuff. It's one of the best ones we have ever done. It was just tremendous, and he's just a huge resource. And so I also did one with Warren, not the one, there was a one we did that had to do with the case in Delaware. That one's really worth seeing. But the card I'm going to put up here is he and I went over his new back of the napkin math with regard to cybercabs and Optimus and other thoughts that he has with regard to the rollout that will be coming up in the next 18 months. 18 months, that's it. We no longer have to push it back. In the next 18 months, we're all going to get rich, and that's not investment advice. I'll put both of those cards above right here. Now, remember, tomorrow I might have Brian Wang, but I will have a unique video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about aspects of the cyber cab, meaning the unique cyber cab that will be made specifically as a cyber cab. Lots of people talking about the shape, whether it'll have 2 passengers or 4 or 6 or 9, whether it will be made out of stainless steel, whether it will be, all kinds of things. I've got at least 10 and maybe way more than 10 ideas that nobody I've heard has even mentioned. So if you'd like to hear those ideas, that'll be tomorrow. Probably, well, I shouldn't say. It could be the morning, it could be noon. It could be Monday. I don't know, but it's going to be ready to go. We'll see. Brian Wang will be the one who will decide when that other video runs. Okay, because we're waiting for him to finish the other video. All right, that's all I got for you right now. I hope you're staying cool, or if you're outside in this sweltering weather, that you're able to hang in there and show the young whippersnappers a thing or two about being tough. All right, that's all I got. It's been great talking to you.